Okay, so I was playing Rollerdrome a bunch today. I started out liking it. Now I really, really like it. I want to tell you what happened. I want to show you because this one thing not only changed the game to me that I want to share, but I want to ask you a question and I want to share what's fascinating about this because I don't quite know what to make of it, right? So if you don't know Rollerdrome, this came out today. You can get the trial version for about 40 minutes worth of play on PlayStation Premium, maybe whatever extra. And in essence, what you're doing is you're going around. It's Tony Hawk with guns, right? So it's really cool. You'd think somebody would have come up with this before. It's very, there's a lot of nice style to it. I'm not great at it, per usual. You're dodging the snipers. You're having all the enemies kind of function a little different. And, you get the gist. This is, it's the game. And it's really fun. But I'm currently playing this. And what was happening throughout the day, like right there, like when the red beam gets on you, it means you're in a sniper's reticle. And it means if it turns white, he's an instant away from firing, right? And by the way, that's how you get ammo. You have to grind or ride the walls, like kind of like this and shit like that. So see, I turned white and I dodged it with the circle and it's perfect dodge, blah, blah, blah. Okay. So, and it seems like even though there's lots of challenges, sort of Tony Hawk style challenges, collect all of this, kill all of this, do it in X number of seconds. The core of it is, I guess, there's some kind of invisible meter that's ticking down every time you kill a bad guy, and you've got to kill all the bad guys to clear the level, right? It's real simple in sort of structure, but it's really fun. It's really, really cool. See, that guy got me because I thought there was a guy up here. Okay, so anyway, and again, I'm not trying to undersell it. It's really, really fucking fun, but that's kind of not what this video is about. If you want to find out more about the game, there's lots of places to do that. But here's what happened. So I'm playing the game most of the day, well, first half of the day like this. And, they're about to spawn some more enemy, and I enjoyed it. But, it felt a little more chaotic than I like in shooters. Games that are similar to making you feel like a badass, like Severed Steel, I think do it a little more effortlessly than this does. And so you feel like that kind of cool action hero a lot quicker than you do in this game. And a lot more intuitive. And I was also getting shot a lot from behind. The game does a good job, like those sniper reticle beams, the missiles. See the missiles? If I'm turning away from them, you'll have that big kind of red arrow and shit. So it definitely helps you if you don't know where the bad guys are coming from. Like you can even target the missiles in the air. Here, watch this. You can even target the missiles in the air, which is really cool. But it really does ask you to have sort of an awareness I'm waiting for this guy to fire. There we go. So I could do this, slow down time a little bit. But if I'm not slowing down time, which is on a meter, a lot of shit comes from behind. Then you've got the sniper rifles and you can accidentally skate off the level or you can skate into a bad guy. And so here's my point. So I think what I was experiencing was it was fun, but it was so frenetic after a while that I never really got a sense that I could get a handle on it. So I think the reason maybe I wasn't so enchanted by it like a lot of other people was that I didn't feel I was good enough and had the reflexes enough to go to sort of win, other than a good piece of going, hey, that was a lucky run. It wouldn't have felt like I could have done it every time because I had the skill. And so I was kind of losing interest. And as I was streaming it, we were playing around with the settings, and I found this, that they put a lot of assist settings in there. And this is not the first game that's done game speed. I've seen racers like the new Forza did it. I've never really needed it. I've never really cared for it. And most difficulty settings don't actually work that well for me. If you put most games on easy, it doesn't feel, to me, an easy game should feel like your skill still should feel it as medium, right? If I need an easy game and I play it, it shouldn't feel easy. But most developers just turn down the knobs on hit points and up the knobs on damage and call it a day. And so it's not very satisfying, and you just kind of walk away going, okay, well, this isn't for me. But I played with this number, and this is my question, and this is what's fascinating. So I said, I'm going to play this at 75%, right? So I go back in at 75, and as you can tell, obviously, it's slower. It's running at, 25% shaved off the speed. But what was really interesting, so look at that. Look at the missiles coming from behind. Well, I got hit because I turned too soon. I can really, even if I'm not slowing down time, I really can suddenly start planning more. I can take in everything that's, not everything, but I can take in a lot of the shit that's happening. And I actually, it's certainly not, nor does it pretend to be or want to be, super hot or anything like that. And it's obviously not like a turn-based game. But suddenly now at this speed, I am able to have a much more interesting strategic experience, right? It feels more mentally engaging now at this speed because I can track things and I can plan, okay? So I'm not paying attention, but so that's, the bush killed me. So that's what I'm trying to figure out though, right? So it occurred to me, and now suddenly I'm addicted to the game. I love it. I love that being in that mental headspace of like, okay, yes, it's fast and furious and I have to be careful, but it's also a little more thinking than it was before. And I like that, right? So, and you can change the speed, but I've only played with 75 and 100%, right? So here's the question. Here's what I got to wondering about. I'm 51. There's absolutely, I was never a great MLG game player or anything, but I've played video games since I was like 6 years old, 5 years old. So, but there's no doubt my reflexes, perhaps my thinking quickness is dropping as I get older, and I don't have a problem with that. But the question becomes, is a 20-year-old playing this game, exactly as I said, 20-year-old version of me playing this game, and a 51-year-old version of me playing this game, when the 20-year-old plays it at 100% and I play it at 75%, because our brains are different, are we having the same experience? When someone who's really great at the game, whatever your age is right now at 100%, are you playing it and you are having that same kind of ability to strategize on the fly, and you're able to track everything that's coming in, and it's the exact experience I'm having that's very mentally rich and also full of action, but you just don't need to bring the number down? Or is your experience insanely frantic? Yes, you have the reflexes to hang in there and beat it, but you're experiencing it more like a Zen, like top-down Raiden Xevious shooter, where you just get into the flow and you survive, and you don't even you don't need or have that thinking process because you don't need it, because your reflexes can let you hang in that space. So, are we having the same experience, or are we having a different experience? And if it's the same experience, I just think that's really cool and interesting. And if it's a different experience, then it becomes really fascinating to me. And one of the reasons I just love the medium so much is it's so rich and it's so interesting, and there's so much stuff we don't know yet, right? If you're a game designer, if I had designed this game, unless I really had this master plan to design 2 games, there are 2 games in here, at least for me. There's the game that is like right past the bleeding edge of comfortability in terms of being able to track everything, and it just feels like a great round of Beat Saber, where or Dance Dance Revolution, where you can barely hang in there, but you're not really thinking. It's just you're going on gut. And then there's the version of the game in here that is kind of a little bit very 20% strategic, almost like that 25% of the speed that got shaved off now gets to go into the brain pan. And now I can focus and think and strategize. And so it's 2 different games. If you're a game designer, you've made 2 goddamn cockadoodie different games, which is great, but it's also weird, right? Like, is that, I know if you ask the designers, because I've read an interview with them, they say, oh, well, if you're having fun, you're doing it right. Yeah, whatever. And that's great. But I am curious about that, right? When you make a game, you have to have a sense of what you're building and what you want it to be. And who do you tune it for at that point? You know, I don't know. I mean, in this case, maybe they found the sweet spot. I have no idea. But I just thought this was one of those, man, games are such a fucking cool as fuck medium, man. There's so much left to explore. There's so much about how we engage with interactivity at a psychological level and a, you know, physiological brain level that I want research, man. I want to read papers on this. I want to watch a documentary on this. Why do we respond the way we do to games? And in this case, are we having the same experience? And it's that little number was enough, but I'm playing it like you're playing it if you're 20 and you're good. Or we're like, no, dude, you're playing a different game because you understand, maybe. This was long. I hope it wasn't rambling, but I don't know how else to express it. I find it fascinating. Be well. I'll talk to you soon. Play Rollerdrome. It's good stuff, man.